Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. So today we're going to start off by going ahead and charging up our Maho, and the way that we're going to do that. Right here we're going to draw a Maho Gen, and we are going to put in iron, emerald, and we'll just right click that. And this is going to make a boundary of drain life. So basically mobs within its area of effect are going to have their life drained. It should be able to hit our mobs here. We're going to go ahead and exploit Maho. You can see my Maho is draining. And now it's going to start going up because it's going to be draining life off of these mobs. And that way we can just kind of passively start boosting our Maho. Now honestly it might be worth going ahead and doing a bit of this. Let me just take off my boots for a moment. And this thing is going to stay pretty much like forever. But you can see our Maho slowly going up. Remember, every time that we consume 100 Maho, we're going to get one more. And I figure we should go ahead and get this running. And honestly, we might add some more circles back in here. But each of these is going to be draining 5. And you can see my Maho's staying capped out, pretty close to capped out from this. Let's go ahead and scale this back. Let's at least do 15 more. Speed this up a little bit. Here is another 15 of these things. And this is basically how you play the mod. That's why I said I disliked it. This is one option, for boosting your Maho. So we should see it start to steadily go up. We're getting about 1 every second. So now we just need about 5,000 seconds. That should be good. And then we'll be able to make the swords. And a couple things of note. If we take a look at blood magic. Okay, I finished out all the quests that are possible. There is one quest here for Sigil of the Frozen Lake. This is an uncraftable sigil. So technically we're not going to be able to finish out this quest. Beyond that, I did just run through. We had about half the sigils already, so it wasn't a big deal. Elemental craft, I made the rest of the shrines and stuff, but we do have to get into the spells and stuff like that. We're going to spend a little bit of time covering that here soon. For ours, we're actually going to go ahead and make ourselves a... We're going to make ourselves a crystallizer. There we go. We finished out the R's quest line. Because it was basically just making some tablets. Yeah, and I think that's the main thing. So I cleaned up a bit of quests, but like I said, the blood magic one we can't finish in the elemental craft. We're going to be finishing on camera. And then once we get this built up, we'll be able to make this sword. All right, now today, what I would like to do, I'd like to switch over our focus back to mana and artifice. Because this is something that we're actually about to finish out the quest line. I would also like to get Brimstone Charms, so I could maybe upgrade the 4 rune forges that we use, which would be quite nice. And we'll be able to finish out this quest line, today. Now, the only thing that we really have left, we do have to hit tier 5, and we do have to get into the Eldrin Alter stuff. So let's go ahead, let's pop up. Man, I shot up to 53 levels, really? Just going down in the mob farm. But let's go ahead and grab our Codex Arcana. And I'm not really sure where this shows up in the book. I think probably if we just typed in Eldrin... Yeah, right here. Eldrin Alter capturing Eldrin Wellsprings. We're going to go ahead and open up that. That's going to give us access to the multi-block that we're going to be needing to build. Now, if you take a look here, there is a material list. Let's go ahead and open this up. And I'm going to grab our Mana Weaver's Wand. Now, let's go ahead. Let's pop up, because I don't have a whole lot of Arcane Stone, and I haven't slotted this one intentionally. But right up here, we actually have, at the top of this tower, we do have kind of a Mana and Artifice crafting area. And you can see that, like, I can come over here and make these things that are depicted on these item frames. I can make them just by right-clicking and having the materials. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up, we're going to be making Arcane Stone and slotting that in, and that's just 8 stone. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift right click this, so that way it links it to the altar. And then we're just going to draw a circle and throw in 8 stone. So we're going to go ahead and slot in that, and then all we have to do is just right click. There we go. And now we've got 63 arcane stone. And we'll leave this up here, and that way all we got to do is just bring some stone up, right click, boom, we've got arcane stone in the future if we need it. So, yay, we're almost up to 500 maho. We'll shut those off once we get the maho that we need, because I don't really have any interest in like getting our maho to like crazy amounts, because I don't really have any intentions of using it for anything. Then we're also going to need 4 Kymerite Stone corners. And then let's pop back up here, and we're going to make ourselves another Mana Weaving Altar. And let's go ahead and get another batch of these, in fact, because we'll use a couple today. We will need 1 for an ATM star craft, but that one's actually going to go in a different place. So 6 should be good, I think. All right, so if we do Kymerite, and then we do 8 arcane stone, we link this here, we are going to make Kymerite Stone. Then we can just go ahead and craft out a half stack of that. Should be good for now. And we're going to need 4 corners and 4 lines and 4 bases as well. So let's go ahead and warp back home. Let's get 4 of these, 4 corners, and we need 4 of the line segments. And then we also need 1 of the chiseled Kymerite Stone. Okay, so there's that. Now the next thing we're going to want is we are going to want to get ourselves 4 of these Wellspring Pillars. These aren't too bad. We do still have a lot of the metal runes built up. So we're gonna teach Mana Weaving Alter how to make the arcane sandstone as well. Any kind of sandstone will work. And then the Eldrin Rift, we're going to need to make this as well, which is just purple glyphs and some Kymerite Sandstone. So we're going to need to teach it that as well. Yeah, we might end up making some more Mana Weaving Altars. We'll see. Basically just takes a little bit to set up these recipes. There's that. And then I'm going to go ahead, we're going to make a recipe here. And this is going to be the Kymerite Sandstone, which is just a slash. There's that. And we'll go ahead and get a bit of that. Now to make the Wellspring Pillar, it's going to be the sandstone. I can actually make this up here. Great. Let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be 2 walls, 1 piece of the sandstone. And remember, we're going to be wanting 4 of these. And we will need to make an Eldrin Rift. Before we make that, though, let's go ahead and do the shapes for this. Just so we've got it out of the way. So it's going to be line. Nope. Line. Nope. Just a line, not a circle. Goodness gracious, I love drawing shapes. Like, if I didn't need this shape right now, there we go. Oof, now it's this one. Okay, got that one. First try. I'll be a master shape drawer yet. And then it's this line. Okay, that's the shapes that we're going to want. Now I'm going to go ahead and link to this one. And over here, we are going to make the recipe for the Eldrin Rift recipe. So just to get them out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and draw the shapes, because I love doing so. There's our shapes. And then all we need is ender pearl, sandstone, and then 4 purple glyphs, which I didn't bring my glyph bag with me, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We got this. I should probably just throw my glyphs in here. It'd probably be a little bit more useful to us. There we go. There's 58 of them. Okay, so it's going to be the Kymerite Sandstone, 4 purple glyphs, and an ender pearl. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and craft up at least 4 of these. I'll have to craft another one later to put on the item frame. That goes into there. Are my shapes wrong somewhere? No, but I did forget 2 metal runes. There we go. And there is our very first Wellspring Pillar. And we'll go ahead and get 4 of those. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to need for the multi-block is we are going to need to get ourselves one of the lens things. Trying to find it in here because I can never remember the name of half the stuff in Mana and Artifice. These right here, these Refraction Lenses. Now there's 6 different kinds, you can see. And each of these is going to require a mote. Now, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea at this point to make each of them. And then each of these are going to require a type of stained glass. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take our alchemy table with us. And let's just go ahead and get ourselves a stack of stained glass. And we will need to get some purified Ventium-coated iron. And we're going to go ahead and smelt this in the Rune Forge down here. And that way it doubles it. There's our purified Ventium. And then we are also going to need a mote of each kind for this. So we'll go ahead and do our rounds real quick. Get our motes crafted out. Each of these are going to have 4 purified Ventium and then their respective motes. So let's go ahead and load these things down. Well, let's at least put the purified Ventium. I worry that if I put the motes in, I'm going to forget which ones are which. Because I don't think... Yeah, holding shift, it doesn't tell us what mote is in this, so... Okay, and then for, like, earth, it is going to be brown stained glass. Let's go ahead and link that. We got so many shapes to draw. Square, diamond, square. There we go. There's our first one. And that is our earth lens. And we can kind of see the earth mote there. Next to it, we'll do fire. There we go. There's our fire lens. Next up, we'll do water. Water is going to be blue stained glass. Next up, we will do arcane. That's going to be magenta. Okay, so next up, we have the mote of ender. And that's going to be purple stained glass. I love my alchemy table. And the last one is white stained glass for the air. Okay, so there is all of our refraction lenses. Okay, now let's pop back. Yeah, let's pop back for just a moment. Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't know. Something. We're gonna do something. Honestly, probably just, we'll go ahead and make the Eldrin site, Wellspring site. I think this one, yeah, that one, this one here is tier 3, and it requires that you're part of the Wizard Council, but if you're tier 4, you can make this one. It doesn't require that you be part of the Wizard Council. So we're going to need Ventium, and Arcanus ink, and honestly probably be putting this one into a thing to keep. Okay, so right up here, this one doesn't have anything. We're going to put our Arcanus ink, our slime ball, our Ventium, and then to make this, it is going to be circle / right / left. Like, why does it think that's a triangle? Like, / right and / left, they should just be a / right / left. And it shouldn't think there are all these other things, you know? Okay, there is our Wellspring site. Wellspring site. What am I missing? It may have to do with the fact that these aren't stackable items or something. That may be the case. And I'm just going to be throwing these into there. Yeah, I guess this one we can't just craft easy. But it's, I guess it's easy enough. We'll go ahead and make 3 of these so that we've got them. But I guess I will not be keeping that recipe in there, so since it's not really usable. Okay, so now we've got that. Now another thing that's going to help us out is the Wellspring Dowsing Rod. We're going to need a thaumaturgic link, and this will only need one of these. Stick, compass, Ventium. And I don't think I have any duplicates, but it doesn't really matter which of these we use, honestly. Alright, so there is our dowsing rod. If we hold it, okay, there's a wellspring off in that direction. So what we're going to do, we're going to set out, can we find them in the, in this dimension? I never actually thought about that. We're up to 2300 Maho though. Okay, yeah, it looks like the wellspring is right in here. See if I kind of move around. Like, I'm standing pretty much right on top of it. Alright, so let's pull up our Capturing Eldrin Wellspring. And we are going to... visualize the multi-block. And before we set that down, let's go ahead, grab one of these, and we're going to take a swig off of that. Yeah, right there is our wellspring. I think because I have my charm on, so I instantly eat, and I think I used a couple uses out of that. But that's our wellspring. So we could set it up lower, but I think we're going to put it just right in here. Let me revisualize here. We're going to put the center block in right there. And this one will actually be pretty close to our base too, which is kind of cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's build this structure. I'm not 100% sure if it actually checks the direction, but we want to make sure it looks nice. Then we're going to take the slab? Yeah, the slab here goes on the bottom half. And you can see we've got this for about 9 minutes. So, and then we're going to have the stairs. Then the Kymerite pillars. Then we're going to come out a couple blocks here. And we're going to be setting up our well springs off in these directions. Okay, so we can get them in blue skies, though. That's really nice. I wasn't for sure if we would be able to be honest. And then we're going to have the chains come across. I wish I had one, like, right inside my base. That would just be too perfect. But we'll have a few minutes left on this, so we'll fly around and see if we can find one. And then we're going to put our refraction lens, and this is either Ender or Arcane. Let's see, let's try to line up the color here. So if we take a look, I'm thinking that this is Ender. Let's grab our Ender one. And we'll put that right there. With it being red, though. Let me get an Oculus. This will make it a little bit easier to know. This one might be Arcane. But if we take a look here, yeah, we're not building up any Eldritch Wellspring energy. So what we're going to need to do is let's pull this thing off. That actually breaks it. Great. Never set one of these up outside of, like, creative. Let's do Arcane. Yeah, this one's not getting the red. Okay. Now if we take a look inside the Oculus, you can see we have 16.3 Arcane Wellspring energy. Alright, so let's take our Oculus with us. That's our first one set up. And I'm going to have to make another Ender refraction lens, since I did break that, but that's fine. Let's go ahead, and we'll just chunk load this. Alright, now, technically at this point, anything that takes arcane energy, we now have it. Now, since we do still have a bit of time on our Wellspring site, we have 4.5 minutes. Let's just fly out. This one here looks like another arcane. There's another purple one. Okay, I'll tell you what. These are all looking about the same. Let's pop over to, like, the end. That's Ender. Yeah. Okay, so this one, we can actually just come out from our starting portal. They might be more dimension and area based than I thought. I mean, this is a pretty new feature, and I've only messed around with it like once in a test world, and that was just setting up the multi-block and just being like, oh, this is cool, I can't wait to use it, kind of a thing. It might be that it's more dimension based. So that one I'm not going to worry about marking because it's literally right whenever we walk into the end. But that one has to be Ender, right? And we've got Arcane from here. Probably the Nether for fire. We have 30 seconds on our Wellspring site. Oh, that's water right here. That's a strange one to find here. Very, very strange one. But that one's water, so we'll keep an eye on that. Or we'll keep that in our minds. It's still trying to direct me back to the water. I never expected to find water in the Nether. Maybe it's not dimension-based, but I found like 3... I guess it was 3 arcane in the blue sky. So I was thinking, well, maybe I can't find anything but arcane there, but now it's like, well, maybe I can. Okay, let's take another swig of this. Yeah, this one's fire, for sure. Okay, so we found fire, water, arcane ender. Now, we're still going to be looking for air and earth. I'm going to say we'll probably check around in the overworld for those. That might be our best bet. But we'll try to find the other elements, then I'm going to be setting up 5 more of these multi-blocks, basically. And you'll notice that, like, if we go over here and we take a look at the Oculus, you'll notice that this isn't going anywhere. 16.3. I believe this is pretty much like an infinite resource. So once we set it up, you know, we've got it forever. But let's just head over to the overworld, see if we can find air and earth. This is earth. Right here. I love this feature. And I would love to see like an expert pack with like really high wellspring costs where you need like multiple multi-blocks. I think that would be quite cool. I think it's a neat feature. You know, it's kind of expensive and a little bit time consuming per multi-block, but man, is it fun to set them up and like go out in the world and hunt them down and stuff. Plus, you know, there's 6 different lenses. You kind of have to craft all of them, so it could be cool, honestly, to even have like, that's arcane. Honestly, to have like some level of like in-game based around them. And like branches of stuff to get the lenses, you know, like different mods for each lens, or different, not necessarily mod, but like, you know, like different branches of research to get it. That's air right there. Awesome, we found them all. Look at that, and we have 2 in the Nether, 1 in the end, 1 in the blue skies. There we go. Now we just have to set all these up. But this Wellspring stuff, like, honestly, probably my favorite mechanic out of like a new mod in forever. Like, I think it's just such a good mechanic and it's so different. And it's a lot of work. And I mean, it's fun, you know, it's a lot of work to locate all of these and have, you know, a good amount of power coming in, of the Wellspring power. You know, it's not something that builds up. It's not something that'll need to recharge, but we need to have a set amount in order to do anything with it. And what's really exciting is like motes aren't even like the highest thing, like in just the default mod. Like motes are kind of where we need to get to, but like, and then you kind of have like, to some degree, you have a little bit more like specialized Wellspring element based on your faction. So like if we wanted to do our faction specific armor, which is the Druid set, that we're going to get at tier 5, this requires 40 wind, for example. I think it's 40, well, it's 25 wind and 10 ender there, a little bit cheaper on the legs. The boots are 25 wind and 10 water, and the antlers are 25 wind, 10 ender. So, but you know, to make the chest, I mean, we'd really need to bump up that wind element a lot. Not to mention we need greater motes of air for it. And like, if we just tab through the Eldrin Alter stuff, I think 40 is about the highest we're going to see in like the default mod. And that's just kind of our specialized armor sets, really. Getting up to 20 on everything is going to give us a realistic amount to craft pretty much everything except for like the faction specific stuff. But yeah, I mean, we're going to need potentially a few. I mean, it depends a lot on RNG as to what we end up with, but you know, we may end up having to craft a few of these altars, which is fine by me. I think it's a really cool mechanic. But yeah, the colors are a little bit easier to determine. I was just like, Arcane and Ender or somewhat close. That one's only 6.8. Ah, okay. We're going to have to find us a better location for water to be sure. But it's something. We have it in place. I will say, I don't know that these necessarily have to be chunk loaded. If you guys let me know in the comments, that'd be great. Some of you may know. But I'm chunk loading them just to make sure, you know. Alright, so now we need to go to our fire. And, like, imagine having to do this without flight. To where, you know, and without, like, super teleport and stuff. Most packs are like, you know, here's waystones and here's all this, like, right out the gate. But imagine having to actually, like, hoof it. Like, a long distance, build a multi-block, hoof it back home, restock up on stuff, go out and find more. You know, it would be really, really cool, I think. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think it would be cool. There we go. And I love the fact that we can see them, you know, once we activate them like that. I think that's so cool. Now, let me check something, though. Is it the size of the... Because I noticed that, I mean, that one's really vibrant. Do we have just a literal ton of fire right now? Because that is possible. No, 7.3. So now fire just looks really vibrant like that. So at this point, I need to go set up the ender, and I need to set up the air, and then we need to set up some additionals, especially the fire, because I do want to make a Brimstone Charm. And we do need the Brimstone Charm for the... I believe we need it for the... No, we don't need it for anything. Okay, never mind. My bad. I was thinking we need it for the ATM star, but we don't. The ATM star, actually, I think the only thing that it requires... I don't even think it's Eldrin Alter. The Eye of Chaos. Yeah, it just requires that we hit tier 5. And it's actually a super cheap item to craft. But it does require that we hit tier 5. Okay, I got the other ones, the other two set up. And I did do a little bit of testing with this one. Because I set up the air and it was only 5.6. And I was like, really? So with the ender one, what I did was I went way up in Y level, like over, it was around like Y200 or maybe a little shy. I'll have to go back and check. But in that one, I was able to get 19.8. So I do think there's a correlation between the Y level and how much energy you get. I think it may be possible to get 20 off of these. Like I said, it's kind of a newer mechanic I'm kind of just messing with. Yeah, you can see that this is at Y196-ish. Probably if you go to like 200 and above, I'm willing to bet that you're going to get 20. For the other ones, we're going to go Y200 or above, I think, and we'll see how we come out. So I'm going to be setting up 6 more of these. And I went ahead whenever I was making rounds to make, or going to make the ender mode, I went ahead and made a few additional motes. And I made 2 stacks of ritual runes because my chisel was about to break. It was like 8 things. But give me just a minute to get the stuff crafted up for 6 more of these multi-blocks. And then we'll get these other ones set up and we'll test that out and see. Like I said, I think that's going to end up being the case. Okay, I've got us loaded down with all the stuff that we're going to need for making 6 more. We should, if it is Y level based and we go up high, we should be fine. You know, with 1 more craft of each of these. Honestly, going out to like a random area would probably be really, really good. But I'm gonna say desert. Maybe we could find fire or something. Oh wow, this is right above our portal area. Okay, well let's see which one. See, I did it again. I double ate. That's fine. Yeah, this is fire. Okay, I'm gonna be just setting these up as we find them, I think. But it seems like you go up so high, I'm thinking, and like then as you get to the upper areas, you get a little bit of diminishing returns as you kind of approach that 200 threshold. And I'm wondering, like, we're going to go to 226 is where we're going to be setting this one up, I think. But it seems like they're coming down from the sky. And so that's what originally got me thinking, well, maybe it's like Y level based, because like maybe the closer to the source that we are, the stronger the effect's going to be. Like, honestly, this system, like for me, ours and Man and Artifice are really kind of neck and neck mods. I don't necessarily like either of them more. I like them both in like different ways. Because like I love the way that Man and Artifice looks. I hate drawing shapes. We're at 7.3 on fire, so we'll see what this bumps us up to. And then I like ours is spellcrafting a bit more, and so in turn I like the spell casting more because it's so many like random items for Mana and Artifice. But I love the way that Mana and Artifice looks. Yeah, look at that, 25.9 jump up there. So yeah, I really do think it has to do with Y level. So we'll definitely want to set these up at a higher Y level. And this is already chunk loaded. I wonder why I chunk loaded such a big area for this. Doesn't really matter. But I have like all my portals chunk loaded, and I really don't know why. Because I'm really, there's only like one thing in there that I'm really needing chunk loaded. Okay, so we've got 6, yeah, we can set up like a couple per swig of that, I think. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, don't set them down low to the ground like that. But I do love the way that Mana and Artifice looks, and I like the depth that it takes things. And you know, the faction system's cool. It's got a lot of really nifty, like unique baubles and different little things. That's fire. I don't really need another fire. The only thing that I would maybe double dip on, or tripling, yeah, probably just triple dip in, is air. Because we're gonna need that for our armor set. But like, I still don't like drawing shapes, and I still wish the spell crafting was a little bit more focused and not just so many random items. It feels like, because it always feels like a bit of a chore to craft spells, and it's not really necessarily something you can automate. I think if it was more meaningful items, it would be better. You know, I don't care if it takes a lot of items. That's a fire. It's another fire. Okay. Tell you what would probably make this a bit easier is another ocean warp. Oh, there's air right there. Okay, and we're going to be building this one basically at Y243 this time. I did not make enough chiseled. I think I made 4 chiseled Kymerite instead of 6. There's a part of me, though, that does wish that the Y level thing maybe didn't exist for a couple reasons. For one, these would be cool to build around and have, like, the core of your base be this big, like, wellspring. Or do some kind of builds around, but it's going to be hard to build around it when you have to go, like, all the way up Y levels, you know? To have it decorative. So I do kind of wish the Y level thing didn't exist. And I also think, like, if they were just, like, randomized values, like somewhere between, like, 5% and 20%, on a wellspring, I think that would be a lot more exciting and a lot more like, oh man, kind of a feeling whenever you find one that's not so good, or you get really excited when you find one that is really good. I do think that would be cool, because I usually don't like astral sorcery. I don't mind so much because eventually, you know, you can get to where Y level doesn't really matter and you can build low down, at least when the mod is working properly. No, that's fine. I got more chains in the system. But I don't like things that are pretty much like hard-coded Y level. I mean, yeah, I guess technically if you wanted decorative ones, you could build them low and they just wouldn't make much. But so, I don't know. I guess that's an option. You're making air. I just don't think you've updated yet. Because you're working, unless, like, we're so high that it doesn't work here. Which is, it's seeming like that might be the case, right? Because it should have updated by now. And it's like, nope. And it's working. You can see the little beams coming off of it. It's all set up correctly and everything. Which, of course, means I'm going to have to make another refraction lens and 4 more Wellspring Pillars and set up another one. I mean, I could go lower. But, okay, so don't go too high. Don't get too greedy. Or you'll get nothing. You'll get just completely nothing. Huh. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it chunk loaded, though, just in case maybe it does end up updating. Okay, we're ready to set up our very last one. And if we take a look here, this is where we're at. I mean, Arcane, we're good on. Earth, you know, we need one more. Ender, this one should put us into the good range. Fire, we're good on. Water, we're going to need one more. And air, we're going to need a bit. Probably 3. I'm going to say 3 of them. Well, no, I think if they're set up really, really well, we could probably do 2. So I might do testing. which would bring us up to 4 of them. But I think realistically probably 2, and then 3 for your faction specific armor set, unless you can find 20 off of a perfect Y level. I don't know, might be able to, because I think I was really close to it on the Ender. You can see 19.8. I mean, that's huge. This is 2 Earth, so that one doesn't count, but the Ender, I was, I think, really close to like the perfect Y level, so I might do some testing and try to find that out. But I think you could get away with just maybe 1, possibly 2, if they're perfect Y level, to craft motes, and then 2 or 3 for your faction specific armor. But I'm glad we did it in this series where it's cheap, so if it comes up in an expert series, I know not to go too high, I know not to go too low, and I know not to break things. And also, I'm really familiar with my colors now, so that's good. So I shouldn't waste things when it comes up in a more like serious environment. 37.1. And something I was thinking about while I was doing that, the Wellspring site, I kind of do wish this was like tier 1, super cheap to craft, because there's no real benefit to a Wellspring until you can make the multi-block, I don't believe. I don't know, maybe setting up around them would give you better mana regen or something like that, but you know, that's not really that big of a deal. And personally, I think being able to craft that at tier 1 means that if you want to start with mana and artifice, you could build around a Wellspring. You know, even if it's just for decorative purposes, like if the Y level thing is a thing, just have one for decorative that you could set up around. I think being something that pretty, unless there's a way to, like later on that gets added to where you can make a Wellspring just for decorative purposes, which I really would like, because I'd love to have like all 6 of them in one location. I think that would be awesome. From a decorative side of things, but I don't know, just being able to find Wellsprings early to build around, you know, if there's not a way to do that, I think would be ideal, because that's something, you know, if I started a pack and I was wanting to really go heavy with mana and artifice, I'd want to set up around a Wellspring, but I wouldn't know until tier 3 as wizards. Is the earliest you can do it, and that's only if you take that faction. So, okay, so let's go ahead. The Eldrin Alter right here. Let's open this up, and we're going to be making another multi-block. This one is the Eldrin Alter multi-block, and this one's not super expensive. What we're going to need is the Eldrin Alter, and then we're going to need 8 of these pedestals. Which I do have 2, and they are super cheap to craft, so, and I should actually have, I think, everything in here left over, so. Okay, and then we'll toss these in, and our pedestal, and that's going to give us our Eldrin Alter. Now, we should only ever need, like, one of these, so let's go ahead and grab that. And then we are going to be building a multi-block, and this isn't like super big. It's just 8 altars around the Eldrin Alter, or 8 pedestals around the Eldrin Alter. So we're going to set it up right down here. That goes in right there. That, because I've been wanting something to put in here. I've got a lot of spaces I need to fill up, basically. Okay, now if we take a look at the Mote of Fire, for example. This one takes Mote of Fire, 2 Blaze Powder. Let's see, I know the Blaze Powder goes like here and here. Really, it doesn't matter like where. And then is it... Yeah, and then it's Mote of Fire, and then just right click. And then, do we have to draw shapes for this? Couldn't find Wellspring Oh, that's right. That's right. We need to make the Wellspring Conduits. Okay, so let's do that. And all you need is the, it's just conduit. It's like fire conduit and stuff. All you need is the ones that you're going to use, the Eldrin conduits. But we are going to end up making one of each. We'll do one here. So fire. And now it should see it. There we go. Now we get all this pretty crafting. I'll turn off the HUD for this. Plus I'll probably end up screenshotting it. Or, yeah, and using it as a thumbnail. So, Who knows? Even though I've got that horrible looking background back there. I'm going to work on it. Just been busy doing quests and stuff. There we go. There is our mote of fire. Okay, so we got a quest completed. Let's go down here to Min and Artifice. We're going to get 5 XP levels. And then there is a checkmark quest here. We're just going to go ahead and do that. And then they want us to make a Brimstone Charm. Which, is that tier 4 or is that tier 5? That is tier 4. Okay. And this one we will be saving to a Mana Weave altar. So this altar right here. Let's go ahead and link that because we're going to make a few more of these later. Or I'll be making, you know, a few more of these later. This is going to be circle, triangle, circle, triangle. There we go. That'll be our very first Brimstone Charm. And this is actually going to... Oh, that's right. There's this quest up here because I never made a glyph. There we go. And this... Not as exciting of an item because I forgot I needed this. That's going to complete the chapter. And we get 100 XP for that. Okay, so the Mana and Artifice chapter is now completed. We can take our Brimstone Charm. We can just right-click that onto our Rune Forge, and that's going to make the Brimstone Rune Forge, which basically smelts at a higher speed. Everything else still the exact same. It's just a faster one. And you know, before the Eldrin stuff, that was a whole lot cheaper to make. Now it's like pretty, not really expensive because once you have it, like we can make more Brimstone Charms easy. But setting it up took like an entire episode basically. Now one other thing that I would like to do, I'd like to make a transitory tunnel. This is just a motive ender, a rune of ender, a clock. Alright, there we go. And then we'll be able to get our transitory tile. There we go. That's going to get us our transitory tunnel, and we now have enough experience to advance in tier. Okay, so let's grab our Mote of Air. Let's go ahead and place this out, remembering to have our extra Mote of Air on us, because the Queen of the Fairies loves Motes of Air. Okay, that should be good. And this will be the last time that we have to do Ritual of the Fairy Quartz. Now, of course, bear in mind, you don't have to get all the Wellspring energy, all the different types and stuff like we did. You know, you could get by with a setup or two of just, say, fire and make a Brimstone Charm, and there you go. You're tier 5. Because all that requires is that you make a mote, a greater mote. So we're going to click her with our mote of, our mote of air. And here we go. We are going to attain the maximum tier, the tier 5 Fairy Court. And there she goes. Goodbye. We should now be maximum tier with the Fairy Court. There we go. We are tier 5. Which does mean that we have basically everything unlocked. We do have access now to the highest tier of spells. So we gained Absorption, Beam, Chrono Anchor, Fire Shield, Greater Invisibility, Heal, Life Tap, Living Balm. I'm sorry, we didn't get Absorption, Fire Shield, and Life Tap. I'm getting ahead of myself. These are faction ones. But we did get Beam, Chrono Anchor, Greater Invisibility, Heal, Living Balm, Mind Control, Silence, and Wrath. So these three, of course, being from our faction, Heal, Greater Invisibility, Mind Control. These two especially are pretty good. Mind Control's, it's decent. We got Ritual of Odin's Call. We did get a couple more shapes, you know, gotta love them. Not to mention a few additional things down here. The Eye of Chaos, of course, being what we need for the ATM star. And actually, with that, we now have the ability to start making ATM stars. We literally have everything required to start doing ATM stars. Next week, we are going to be making ATM stars. Next episode, though, we're going to do just a little bit of mod wrap-up. It's going to complete a couple tabs for us. Just so it'll be the last kind of like mod wrap-up sort of thing within the series. And so we'll just be going over a few things, small things from little mods that I want to cover and mention, but we're not going to spend like a whole episode on. So we'll wrap that up, and then come next week, we are going to be doing ATM stars, we're going to be doing Project E, we're going to be doing final character development probably, and maybe starting into some challenges, I think. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.